Jessica Braggs with Carter Realty Group. Welcome to Contracts, Conversations, and Cocktails. Today, we're going to be making a Screwball Pineapple Margarita. I know it sounds a little difficult and different, but I promise it's delicious, so just stay with me. We're gonna take a margarita glass, and I have prepared it with dried juniper berries and dehydrated limes. We're gonna take our shaker with a little bit of ice, not too much because we like strong drinks, not watered down drinks. And we're gonna do 1.25 ounces of Screwball whiskey. Then we're gonna do 3/4 ounce of your preferred tequila. Then we're going to have 1/2 ounce of any sweet and sour mix. And we're going to top that off with 2 ounces of pineapple juice. Shake it up. And enjoy. Hi, it's Jessica Braggs with Carter Realty Group. Today I have my guest panelist, Donnell Cole, and we will be talking about divorce and real estate and how it affects real estate. So cheers, guys. How's your cocktail? Your Screwball Pineapple Margarita?
It's great.
It's pretty good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi guys, I'm Kimberly Marie, and I'm looking forward to this topic.
So we brought Donnell on because he has experience buying real estate with a wife, getting a divorce, and then having to get rid of the real estate. So Donnell, tell us a little bit about your experience with that.
Sure. Got married 2005. 3 years into the marriage, we bought our first home. Another 6 years later, so 9 years into the marriage, we bought a second home and rented out the first one.
Oh, so y'all had 2 houses to get rid of.
Correct.
I love it.
And then 5 years later,
Did you hire Carter Realty Group?
we did not.
Oh, get out.
That's where he started. That's where he started off from. Right there.
I remember
Right
that.
there.
I know
That's
I have
why it
that
didn't work.
written down for the next purchase. So another 5 years later, we bought a second home. And then 4 years later after that, we decided to get divorced. So we had a non-contentious divorce, which means that we both sat down and in a mature way try to figure out how to divide the assets. It worked out well since we did have 2. Instead of liquidating one of the properties or anything like that, I took the first one, she took the second one. So we did have to do a quick claim deed for each property because we were both on both properties.
So with a quick claim deed, for people who don't know, it's when 2 people are in title or purchase a home together and you're giving the rights to the home solely to one individual instead of 2.
Yep.
Okay, you may proceed.
Yeah, so she quit claimed her ownership of the first home to me, so now I'm the sole owner of the first home, and I quit claimed my ownership of the second home to her.
So you had an amicable divorce, which is probably one of the best divorces you can have.
Yeah.
Rare. You're not fighting over, it is rare.
Yeah.
You're not fighting over assets and children and money and alimony and all of those types of things. So you had a positive experience. Now, if you had a negative experience, it probably would have went all the way left.
Yeah, because there was, when the lawyers were trying to divide or separate assets, we had to look at the market value of each home, how much debt we had against them, and then along with the rest of our assets, how we're going to split, my 401k, her 401k, and if we should sell one of the properties in order to liquidate and walk away from it. So that's.
So do you have it now in writing that if you got the first house and she got the second house, if you sell that first house, does she still get rights or money from that house, or do you have it written to where it is solely yours and all proceeds are solely yours?
It's solely mine.
So, and then hers is the second house?
Yep.
Okay. Did you want the first house or did you want the second one?
That's a good question. I wanted the first house.
Which one was worth more?
The second house was worth more.
That was nice of you.
Yeah,
that was nice of you.
The first home, the first home was, let's say, $135,000. The second home was $325,000. So there was more equity in the second home, but with us having a mature conversation about it, I think what mattered most to us were the kids.
Were the kids.
So we wanted for the kids to stay in the same district. So that was the best way for us to have that agreement. Her and the kids stay in the second home. I go back to the first home. So.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, fortunately, you are the only one on the panel that has ever gone through a divorce. But I would imagine, because me and Kim, we love our husbands, right, girl?
Absolutely.
That is a.
We choose them every day.
We need them.
That is an inside joke to a prior conversation that we just had. Y'all gotta have a disclaimer so people understand what's going on.
We choose them and need them every day.
So I got a question for you.
Sure.
If you had to give tips to someone that was thinking about getting married and purchasing a house, what would you tell them? What's important going into that?
It will be the mindset. My thought is for if the home has not been purchased yet, so you're looking for a spouse, you have to have the same mindset, and that's for my example, that's the reason why it worked. Both of us were mature. Regardless of what happened that caused us to get to that point, we both decided to make some, put all emotion, feel into the side, and be rational and make some mature decisions. So that's the first thing. When I know this is supposed to be about real estate, not marriage counseling, but that is the first thing to think about is what is the mindset of the spouse. You have to look at bad situations.
Absolutely.
And be able to prepare for them in advance.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, were both of you on the loan together?
We were.
On both homes?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, that's not correct. I was on the loan for the first home. She was on the loan for the second home. So that made it much easier for us to.
So for people who don't know, Donnell is also a mortgage broker, more so with commercial, but he knows how loans work. So explain to them how that was different in your marriage with her only being on title through marriage, but on the loan for both. Title through marriage on the first one, but on the loan for the second one.
Yep. So that is correct. She was on the loan for the first home, so it made it easier for. I'm sorry, she was not on the loan for the first home. She was on title. Mm-hmm. So when it came time to purchase the second home, she got all the benefits that we know about of a first home buyer. She was able to, we were able to have her qualified through her own income. So she was able to purchase the second home in her name. If it had been the other way, we would have to go through a whole nother process of going to the banks and trying to get them to look at my assets only or my qualifications, my income only, and remove her as a guarantor or co-signer. So that'd be a totally different situation.
And that's a
long. So I guess what it sounds like to me, would you recommend a couple who's thinking about getting multiple homes to one partner get one home and the second partner get the second one due to credit and things like that?
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, if there's there are benefits to do it that way. So
where are the benefits?
Specifically for that person who's buying a second home, they can get that first home buyer benefits of being able to put 5% down. So, and then if we have to dissolve the assets, in the case where I had, it's a lot easier for us to go to the courts. We didn't have to go to any banks. We just went straight to the courts and said, my attorney wrote up this quick claim deed, so she's going to have this one, I'm going to have this one, and we walk separate ways. In addition to that, if you're able to qualify separately, then that allows you to be able to build wealth in the future.
But also for our audience, if to summarize what they just said, if you go into a marriage and only one spouse is on the loan, per se, that leaves your credit or the opposite spouse's credit available to purchase multiple homes. So I know that's not the topic, but that's a really good idea if you want to be investors.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on the flip side, if you do end up getting married, you are entitled through marriage. So you still have rights to that home. So that all that, I want to be on the loan too because it's my husband, blah, 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 you're still going to be on title. You still have rights to the home. Just don't go on the loan if you don't have to, because it helps you guys in the future so that you can build your real estate portfolio in separate different names, but you're still married. So you're on title by marriage.
So I think the people want to know what's the difference, because people don't understand the difference of being on the mortgage and being on the title. What does the mortgage mean? That you are responsible for the
loan itself. I'm glad you brought that up, because I know you guys can add to this conversation, but you want both parties to be on the title itself. Yeah. That way, if one person passes away, it's the second person automatically assumes ownership. You don't have to go through probate. You don't have to pay any taxes or anything like that. So it's automatically assumed.
Well, you do have to go through probate if it's not in a trust. You still have to go through probate.
If it's tenant in common,
they don't know what that is.
Okay.
No, tell them what it is.
Only we know what it is.
Let's educate the people. Yeah, so but that's one of the other benefits to have both parties on the title itself.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then for the mortgage, the mortgage is a paper that the bank has filed with the county that basically says that they've lent money and they have first rights to this property, if they decide to take it over because you didn't pay them back.
And that's with only one spouse being on the mortgage. So now if the second spouse isn't on mortgage, again, for the audience, if the second spouse isn't on mortgage but they're on title because you're married, the spouse still has rights to the home.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay? That also means that if the spouse is not on title for whatever reason, so let's just say you don't get married because you don't want the piece of paper, but in your heart you're married. That doesn't count. Sorry guys, it doesn't count. You don't have rights.
Illinois is a state that you don't even have to be on title. If you're married, you still have rights to that home. Once you sleep in that home, one day you have rights, homestead rights to that home.
Homestead rights.
Homestead rights. 30 days or more.
Absolutely.
As long as you get mail at that property, you got rights.
Yes,
Okay.
you do.
What rights are we talking about? Other than, let's see.
They can't kick you out.
Okay.
You can't sell it.
Yeah.
Yep. So if your spouse says, get out, you'd be like, nope.
Or I'm going to sell it. You can't.
Yeah,
unless I sign off.
Sorry.
Right. There
Sorry,
needs to
buddy.
be there needs to be a conversation between both parties. So we're married. Whether I put you on title or not, just because we decide to go separate ways, doesn't mean that you have the right to liquidate that home without consulting with the other person.
Absolutely.
Right. So all parties on title or not, if you're married in your heart or on paper, we live in Illinois. We live in Illinois. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. But so, do you know of any kind of
Contentious, yes.
divorces that
Yes.
maybe?
Yes.
So give the viewers an example of how that panned out and benefits to help them in the future if that should be their case.
So one of the other issues with real estate assets is that it prolongs the divorce process. So we can look at this from two different angles. So from the divorce aspect, if you have real estate and you haven't properly perfected your ownership, that's going to drag out that process, and that gives the other person the right or the opportunity to drag it out or to extend it in order to try to figure out a better agreement for him or herself on what they want to walk away with. And the situation that I'm thinking of,
How long would it be drug out? Like long
months, years.
They can't.
decades?
I've seen, when I went to divorce court, there was another couple that was there that had been in divorce proceedings for 6 years.
Wow.
Ooh, Lord Jesus.
Yeah. And in that case itself, the the husband refused to do the paperwork, and he just drug it out.
But that usually
Longer
means that the
and longer.
husband didn't want the divorce,
Right.
or the husband's going to lose
Yes, the husband.
boatload of money.
The husband did not
And that's
agree.
expensive to do
Right.
that.
It's cheaper to keep her, Kim.
It's definitely cheaper to keep it. Come on.
I'm gonna just take my joke. No, the husband didn't agree to the separation of assets that the attorneys had agreed to, or that the attorneys put in paperwork.
But why? Because he was going to lose money?
Yes, but that's because
So
he
was it an
felt
alimony
like-
case?
No, it was the assets. He had built a business. He had other property.
Oh,
that
well, he would have had to
built.
pay alimony then.
But he didn't want to
Share.
He didn't want to share half or more of his assets that he built.
Okay, but did he buy the house prior to them getting married?
I don't know. There were some that he bought prior and some that he bought as investment properties since they were married.
Well, somebody didn't school him on when you get married, your wife gets half.
That's the reason why he drove it out. Because I spoke to him, and one of the counter claims that he wanted to make was he wanted to give her one asset that amounted to the amount of money that she would be, that's equivalent to half of his total assets.
Okay, so
She
from a
wanted
real estate
half.
aspect, though.
She wanted half
Of
of
everything.
everything.
She wanted to feel like she put her hands on everything.
Yes,
Okay,
he
so
monetarily, he wanted to let her walk away with half of.
How long were they married?
I don't know that question. That's a good question. Well, they were in divorce for 6 years, so they had been married for longer than that, I would assume.
Well, I hope it. No.
Yeah, because they built up a nice.
If they had a
portfolio.
6-year divorce and they were married for one,
I'm going to assume that they were married for close to 10 years due to how big his real estate portfolio and his assets that he had.
I probably would fight it too if I had a big real estate portfolio.
Why, now, here's the question. Why would you do that if he wants you to walk away monetarily with what you deserve?
I wouldn't fight it. That's being spiteful. I think she was being spiteful. I wouldn't fight it. If he's giving you,
Yeah.
he's pretty much cashing you out.
I
That's
see
gonna
both,
equal
because
them
what
out.
if? Okay, so playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
What if the husband never, like, I don't want anything to do with these real estate deals that you do. I don't care. I don't want anything to do with them. Nothing. Now all of a sudden we're getting a divorce,
Now
and
he
now
wants
you want
half.
half the property.
Yeah, and that was the case. That was the case.
Exactly.
She was the wife was a homemaker, and she was against him taking money from the home to build his real estate
So he
portfolio.
took a HELOC. Y'all know what that is.
So he
Different podcast.
So, but he did, and now that he did, now she wants half of it. Half of everything.
So in that aspect, I don't agree that the spouse should get half, because the spouse was against it in the first place and didn't want her husband to purchase all of this real estate. But on the other hand, if they were in it together, they viewed the houses, you know, both signed papers, both put in money.
So
Then, yeah.
I have a question. What if the spouse was not active in him building his real estate? She was supporting him from home. She was
That's being
agreeing.
active.
Yeah, that's the
That's
point.
being
that-
active.
That's the
Yeah,
point
that's
that I was
being
going to make.
active.
So she deserved half.
Absolutely. And he was willing to. That's what he's saying, that she wanted each house. She wanted to put her hand on each. If he's willing to pay her the cash amount, then why not just walk away?
But was there a specific dollar amount that the wife was looking for? Or was she, because in that case, she's,
Here's the thing.
hypothetically speaking, if I were to get divorced, I wouldn't drag it out. I wouldn't be spiteful by any means, but I would know what I would want.
Here's
So
the
if
thing.
he was willing to give that to me in one way or
That's what
another,
he's saying.
Here's
he was.
here's the thing. I'm going to use rough numbers for the example. Let's say he had equity of $1 million, and he wanted to give her 500. So he wanted to give her a couple
so that's
properties
half.
that's worth $500 in equity. What her claim was that all of these properties together will appreciate in value over time. So you want to walk away with 500. You want me to walk away with 500 now, but when the market turns, your 500 is going to be worth a lot more than 500.
because
So I see what her point is. Her point is that she wanted something that was going to be able to increase as well.
Exactly.
She didn't want the dollar amount. She wanted a property that, because she knew that was going to still bring her revenue. That's smart.
And revenue
But was he
and
giving her
appreciation.
the bad properties with the with the low equity, or was he
No, he was trying to cash her out.
Yeah, he wanted to cash her out. He wanted to take a line of credit against the properties that he have, take $500,000 out, and give her $500,000 in cash.
No, I don't think I would agree to that. No. That's
So he
not
keeps
smart.
all the
Especially-
properties. He went like you said earlier. He went and viewed all these properties. He built this portfolio himself. But I agree that she did some work to hold him down
Definitely.
at home.
Yes,
so
did.
she deserves something. But when it comes to so from an appreciation value standpoint, why? And his point of view was, why do you deserve an opportunity to continue to benefit off of something that I built if we are going separate ways?
Okay, so now he's being spiteful.
He is, because he used the word he. And it was a damn thing. It was a we.
Yeah.
It was,
I mean, it was his
Yeah.
properties, but at the same time,
you don't know what she was doing behind the scene.
correct.
Absolutely.
On paper, it's his properties.
No, their properties.
Well,
On
no, these
paper-
are investment properties, so these are in his name.
On paper, it's his properties.
Yeah. But I mean, what's wrong with him saying you are owed $500,000? Here's $500,000. Take that and build
That I
your own
wouldn't agree
portfolio.
with.
I wouldn't agree with that.
I would want the physical properties.
Me
I would
too.
want a quick claim deed.
If you're smart, you
Oh, yeah.
understand
So-
the difference.
If that ever happens, you want the property. You don't want the money. You want the property.
Absolutely.
Take the property.
Take the property.
From a legal standpoint, you can create an LLC that both of you guys are 50% ownership of, and put all the properties in one LLC or series of LLCs. That way, you still own 50% of everything.
But as a wife, she still owns 50% of everything.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. In this case, you have one LLC with the now ex-husband and wife
I like
are
that.
still 50%
Oh,
owners.
now
now
they're
now that
partners.
they're divorced.
Right now, it's
now
still
they're
partners.
just business partners.
I like it.
I mean,
That-
she can be a
that's
silent partner.
Yeah.
You can make her a silent member, so she doesn't have any voting rights or say so, if that's y'all agreement. But she walks away with still 50% ownership of those properties.
I like that.
I like that.
I like that.
I
That
do
was a
like
good
that.
tip. That was a good tip.
Even us as real estate professionals, like we know these things like way like right down up in here.
And then we understand, like I understood why she was standing on what she, because you was like, take the money. It's like, no.
No, I didn't say take the
Oh,
money.
yeah, both of you guys were up
We-
front
at
saying, both up
And then I'm
front.
like,
No, don't take the money. Take the property. That's what I
Absolutely.
thought you were going for, was take the. I thought you were saying to give her property.
So-
and I was like, well, yeah.
I would say this though, just to add to that, there's no right or wrong or cookie cutter answer for anybody. So
Everybody's
it depends.
situation
Yeah,
is
it depends
different.
on what your situation is. Because me personally, if I was this woman, I would rather take the $500,000 and walk away from the relationship altogether. Now, do I potentially lose because those properties gain? Possibly. Can I build another real estate portfolio or whatever portfolio I want to with the $500,000? Hopefully, but at least there's a separation there that we can walk away.
I
And,
disagree. I think she was at home raising the kids, and she thought that she was going to be taken care of through
Yes.
him being able. So
Yes.
she needs to continue. She gave her career or whatever she was deciding to do and put it on the side for him to
Absolutely.
take lead.
Yes.
Correct? And so she needs to continue to benefit from that.
Yeah,
And
and then
sacrifice.
there's the other. So the other aspect of this is there's a difference between how you view real estate, whether it's an asset or whether it's a means to cash flow. Because if those properties, if she had equity in those properties, but they were not cash flowing, she's not working. Now she has to figure out a job. And if those properties were producing cash flow for her, it's better for her to stay in them.
But there was
If-
also children involved too, right?
Exactly.
So you have to take that into
Yeah.
consideration.
But
as well.
let's give an example that he was a bad real estate investor, and those properties did not produce great amount of
Come on
cash
now,
flow.
you can't have 10 properties and be a bad real estate
Well,
investor.
I mean, it's-
sound like
and
it.
no, it's-
It's not like he
Come on
going
now.
It's a top. no,
One,
actually-
maybe two, but you
So
can't
here's
have
the
10
thing.
properties.
Here's the thing. I do know many investors who take all them. They are gamblers. That's basically what they are. They take all the money that they have and they go buy more real estate. And for them, the more that they have, the better they'll be. So instead of making this property more profitable by raising the rent and lowering
Putting
some
upgrades into
expenses,
it.
Updating it.
instead of doing that, they just take that money and go buy another property. So for them, they're eventually getting to whatever profit that they want. But from an individual standpoint, those may not make a lot of money.
But I don't necessarily think that it's not the route I would go.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that it's a bad way to do it.
Right.
It's just each property is going to be, because real estate grows in equity.
Absolutely.
Without us even knowing it every year. So it's just that he's choosing quantity over quality.
Yes.
So if you choose quality over quantity and you have less homes with more
Cash
finishes and upgrades.
Look, you start off with doing smart things like location to make sure that your home is going to continue to build equity.
Yeah.
That's real estate 101.
I think my whole point was that there are certain circumstances where it's better to take the cash and build your own portfolio that may be more profitable if cash flow is what your main focus is. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, take that cash and go get a 10% return. That's $50,000 a year. So it depends on which one do you value more, which one is more important to you, the asset and its appreciation or the cash flow.
Stop.
What?
Okay. You gotta close out on this camera.
Okay. So in conclusion, in a roundabout way, whatever your circumstances may be, whatever you two choose to do, first of all, real estate is always going to be your best investment. That's a side note. Your best investment ever, hands down. I don't care what stock owners say, none of that. Real estate is going to be your best investment. But if you find yourself in a position where you are separating from your spouse and you need to figure out where to go and how to divide up things, it's completely up to you and what you choose to do. Just be fair and just know that real estate will always have value. So cashing out may not be the best option. That's all I gotta say. Thanks for listening today, guys. Have a great day.
Have a good one.